welcome to the stream. My name is Lee, and yeah, we are running today's stream as specifically requested. I have no idea what I'm about to do stream-wise, so this should be exciting. Essentially, if I recall correctly, alright. If I remember correctly, we're doing a Darktide. Yes, that's this one. So it should be fun. I have no idea what Darktide is, of course, but but I promised I would do a stream on it because I have no idea what it is. So, yeah, let's do a stream. I am super excited about this. So what we're going to do is my usual method when I don't know what something is, or when I'm doing an exploratory stream. What I would then do would be this, that, nope, this one, this one. And that's what we do. And then we go that. We're going to do a video. I'm pretty sure I have the desktop audio selected, so it should be, nope. What we would go to would be not any of this nonsense, any of this nonsense. What we would go to would be a trailer. Official HD trailer. Alright, there's official trailers. Okay. I have no idea what it is, so you guys are going to watch it along with me. I'll get commentary, we'll talk about it, I'll seek out other sources. If you have any suggestions for good sources, if you've heard of this and know exactly what the deal with it is, this is what would be considered to be a good time to pop them in. There is a few other pops that I want to pop in. Beautiful. Pop in, see if I know people have other fun things to do Saturday night. Honestly, I would have done this much earlier, but I got roped into running a game, and now I am obligated. Alright. Oh, there was a morning game on Jay's channel this morning. I didn't see it. Hopefully it was a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll see. I'm kind of excited about this, honestly. Kayla specifically chose this for me, for the Saturday game. Let's see the official trailer for this one. Alright. So, you know the deal with trailers. I set my volume to a reasonable amount so it's not too loud. You guys hear what I hear on the thing, you hear what I say about it. I'll pause occasionally and give commentary. We'll hang, we'll talk about it. You know how these react videos go. Also, hi, if anyone new pops in, my name is Lee. And today we're doing a reaction trailer to Darktide. I have no idea what it is. But it was a special request from a good friend to do a stream on it. So we're exploring, trying to figure it out, and we're learning together. If that sort of thing seems interesting, hang around. Love to have you. Let's do. All right, ready? Xbox sounds. That's not Earth, but it definitely Planet of the Imperium. Okay, that's a cool logo. Sprawling Hive City. Okay, it's cut off. Hands down. Ogren as a playable race.
Master of mankind, may thy light guide us in the darkness. Burn the heretic, kill the mutant, purge the unclean. Master of mankind, grant us strength.
Not just your battle. Go fight everything. Yeah, it's Cleric. Under 40k. Yeah. Cleric, Dark Heresy. And okay, that's cool. I like it. That's cool. 2021. Oh, so it's already out. I like this. I think it's very cool. Okay. This is very cool. And thank you, Kayla. I should do a shout out figure out how to do a shout out for Time Lord's wife, because she's really cool. But yes, very cool. Okay. Or Xbox sounds. Okay. So that's fun. I like it. Wait, let's it's 2 minutes. Okay, so we can so that's someone else's impression. Oh, that's a cinematic trailer. This one looks like a better official HD. I bet that's a better trailer. Yeah, cinematic trailer. I like cinematic trailers better than gameplay trailers because playing. But yeah, let's see what this is. Let's pop in. I always assumed Dark Tide was some sort of or maybe I just remembered and it was a different game that I'm supposed to be streaming on. But hang on a sec. It's Eventide. What is Eventide Ruins? Okay. So it was either Eventide or Darktide. I remember writing it down as Darktide, but then I thought it might be Eventide, but I don't know why I thought that. But I want to watch another Darktide trailer, so I'm going to do that, if that's cool with you guys. Because I know, if anyone pops into the chat and says, hey, let's do this other Warhammer game, or hey, what do you think of this? I am more than happy to share. I chose Darktide specifically. I think it definitely was Darktide. This is what, it was a special request by a very good friend of the channel who, I don't know if they're here or not, but I hope she is, because pretty cool person. Let's...
Families moved to Park Ridge because of its community. As a teacher and supervisor at the junior-senior high school,
Park Ridge is a town that's right next time to me, and there's political ads. They want to get me to vote, which I will vote. I'm told can't vote for Park Ridge.
The city of Tertium is under attack. My city. A dark tide of chaos is rising. Our best fighters are falling. It's time to try new tactics. Something different. Something desperate. We take you, the outcast and the criminal, the lost and the damned, because you have nothing left to lose. So you're the scum we're counting on now. And if it's come to this, then God Emperor help us all.
That is pretty cool. This is September 2022. Okay. It is pretty cool. Okay, I want to see.
As someone who doesn't necessarily serve the Omnissiah, but someone who can appreciate them.
All right. Bop. Okay, that's another. Let me try something. Okay. Oh, hey. They have the website for the Dark Tide. So they probably have, like, a cool explanation of the lore, which, yep, I guess here we go. So the city of Tertium, from the hordes of bloodthirsty foes in this intense, brutal action shooter. New co-op focused on experience the award-winning team behind the Vermintide series, which I believe, if I remember correctly, was... So you get to customize Vermintide's best-in-class melee combat. Warhammer 40,000 Dark Tide introduces intense 40k gunplay to the mix. Master the balance between ranged and melee combat, always a useful thing. Fight your enemies, a slew of enemies. Feel effective with swipe, swing, and slice of a chainsaw to fry some flesh with a lasgun. Lasguns are always. Step into the violent dystopian world of 40k. From the boiling hot industrial factories to the decaying water maintenance zone afflicted by constant acid rainfall, Tertium Hive is a hard and unforgiving place even in the best of times. Your role is to serve as Zealous Inquisition. It is the Inquisition. The Zealous Inquisition by embarking on missions to exterminate the threats lurking in the depths of the Hive City or die trying. Alright, so you are a small Inquisition crew sent to exterminate the Hive. Makes sense. I'm just trying to fit it into the lore. Erratic whims of chaos with circumstances. Mutators that add spontaneous challenge to your mission. Team must learn to adjust, adopt new tactics, and change up loadouts to face these ruthless challenges. Sounds kind of fun. And pre-order. Class pilot. Ogryn's Skullbreaker. See, I want to know why they did Ogryns. Ogryns are a whole... Okay. A bit of a note on Ogryns in 40k lore. Since we're going to go on... That's what Kayla said. She wanted to hear me do lore dumps. So let's do it. Ogryns. The deal with Ogryns is that they are abhumans. So basically, there were a lot of planets that were high gravity. A lot of them were prison planets. That is to say, places that got prisoners dumped on them in the distant past. Now, humans are human because of our genetics, right? And chaos mutates humans to monstrosities of pure evil with tentacles and 5 eyes and evil and insanity and all sorts of nasty things. So people mutated by chaos are not human and are hardcore evil. Then there are, of course, humans born with weird mutations for other reasons who are probably innocent but get murdered anyway because everyone thinks they're chaos mutants. Then you got abhumans. So humans are biological mammals, as we know, right? And mammals, not just mammals, but organisms in general tend to evolve. If placed on, for large periods of time on a planet with unique conditions, the human, the nature of the people will shift, new genes will spring up, they'll move bit by bit until people are slightly different. And, this takes place over thousands of generations, but there was whole 10,000 years of, after the Dark Age of Technology, there was the Dark Age of Technology, which was 10,000 years, and then there was another 10,000 years of just mankind trying to conquer back the stars. And so what they found was not mutants, but human subspecies that had evolved on planets that had radically different conditions that were close enough for humans to live on, but not enough for them to thrive on, and were radically different from Earth. And humans had adapted generation by generation over the millennia. And every planet's, let me learn how to explain this. Every planet's humans are ever so slightly. People have different genetic mix, like things like skin color and things, the exact genes that got thrown in when people were settled, the little small tweaks that had happened, that had been random mutated since and had grown in populations, different, every planet has its unique genetic quirks across humanity, and the populations on different planets shift depending on source and how long they've been there, and et cetera, et cetera. So humans are not perfectly genetically pure in terms, that's how, even today, different diseases and different things will be found in different populations. Now, we only have one planet, and it's really, and now, at least, in the 21st century, it's really easy to travel, so different genes get spread around, and different couples move different places, and they marry people from completely different places and have different kids with different genetic stock. So the exact nature of people from this area tend to have this gene, and people from this area tend to have this gene is kind of breaking down because we've moved past that and people have different sets. It still is a little bit, if you can trace it back far enough, and it was especially true pre easy global travel. But abhumans are slightly different than that. Abhumans are beyond the variation you'd expect within base humans, and they become not quite a different species, but subspecies. They become radically different. But because these are stable, entire population, logical, kind of normal ones that you might expect an organism to go through based on conditions, and not just random BS chaos ones that erupt spontaneously in living people. This is stuff that comes, people are born slightly different over the years. This is evolution. It's not inherently evil. Now, they are frowned on and don't get along well in imperial society, but there are several strains of abhuman, and the Inquisition has decided, in its benevolence, that they're not inherently evil the way chaos mutants are. Abhumans are not mutants as such. They're human enough to have souls, is how I put it. And so the abhuman populations are allowed to live their best lives, sometimes allowed to join the Imperial Guard. Different abhuman strains. There are several well-known abhuman strains who are known to the Imperium, and yes, I know, pipe down. Yeah, there are several abhuman strains who are known to the Imperium who get drafted for military service. You got ratlings who are tend to be very, very short, have hairy feet, tend to be good detailed focus attacks like cooking and aiming sniper rifles, and are generally have a reputation as thieves, although that's might be things that grew on planets with high atmospheres. They have a high reproduction rate. They're basically very much like halflings. Then you got if in Warhammer Fantasy and other fantasy things, that's their thing. They said, okay, when they were creating on a meta level, it says halflings, but they said no, they're just a subspecies of human that are shorter and slighter and better at aiming and stuff. Ogrins, which is where we're getting to, are the opposite. Ogrins are much larger than average human and have radically lower intelligence than your average human. And tend to be very loyal to the Imperial cult, and they tend to serve as in the Imperial Guard, often because big guys, you can just kind of point them at the enemy. They're tough. They sink damage well. They don't get hurt easily. They're kind of very dumb, so you can just get one of the commissars to just whip them into a Forensic Party, send them forward, and just go. And that is their role in Imperial Guard. I'm assuming that Ogrins have other societies on planets, but they don't get mentioned in 40k all that much otherwise, other than Ogrins and Imperial Guard. But yeah, they come from high gravity planets with with cold climates that tend to dull down anything but survival instincts, and tend to be big and dumb and strong, but are, cousins of human enough to have souls, and generally serve the Imperium. So there's that. Zealot Preacher. Ooh, I kind of want to see the other sharp class ones because, looking at Imperial Guard stuff, 40k lore is always interesting. Big, strong, and unstoppable. If you want to win, send for the biggest, meanest, angriest you've got. That's me. Not these runts. They can't hold a proper gun. Can't hold a proper knife. Scream in pain all the time, or just because it's fun. Or because they're bored. Idiots. Not good enough. Not gonna win. Not without me. Everyone agrees. Everyone I talk to anyway. And people like talking to me, if they know what's good for them. Not polite to ignore me, is it? Ogrins are abhumans, a subspecies of humanity deemed useful enough to protect from the sanction of purgation. You see, yeah, that's it. There's two things. There's A, useful enough, and B, stable. Any mutation that's not stable is automatically chaos bullshit, no matter what it's caused by. If it's not stable, they can't trust it not to be chaos bullshit. Stuff that is stable but are different than humans but abhumans, yes, the Imperium, the Inquisition tends not to purge them as much if they're useful to. If you get too different from regular humans, though, the Imperium will purge you, no matter how. Will start purges, no matter how useful. If you get too different from humans, they're not human anymore, and then the Inquisition says, no, it's not good enough. They're protect humanity, not other species that evolved from humanity. So you have to be, it's a fine line to walk. But Ogrins are cool. Stronger and tougher than ordinary humans, Ogrins excel at work that requires extra muscle or indifference to pain, and often serve as laborers, manufacture workers, or, in the Astra Militarum, shock troops, bodyguards, using their brawny bodies to shield their comrades and immense strength to smash their enemies. To date, only male Ogrins have been seen on the battlefields of the Mobian Dominion. That is, some battlefield. If an inquisitive soul is brave or stupid enough to inquire an Ogrin about such matters, it's a toss-up whether you get annoyed low rumble in response or an oversized fist to the face. They are mostly loyal and slow-witted, thriving on simple, direct commands. Anything nuanced is likely to be ignored or boiled down to a brief, joyful act of violence. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. They don't have, ever have female Ogrins in, they never, no Warhammer 40k has ever depicted female Ogrins serving, in any of the armies they spotlight or the tabletop models. I mean, presumably they exist, probably on the planets, Ogrins are native to, but they don't generally get spotlighted. Apparently, wherever, so the Mobius Dominion, the Mobius Dominion I think is probably a lore term, right? Mobius Domain. Mobian Domain. Okay, we're gonna see if we can't find something on this. Oh, the Lexiconum. Yes, this is the... is an important and vital fiefdom of several Imperial worlds that are ruled by Sector Lord Margrave of Adama Prime. Okay. Yes, Lexiconum we know is a decent source. We popped in to look at some of their stuff on... Yeah, okay. They're also annoying with ads, but what are you going to do? How do we get... Okay, we're going to have to... Okay. Wait, why is it... Alright. Sorry. Hello! Tea Time with Taryn! Welcome! Hi! Mike Disney, welcome! Hello, friends! So we are, no, not that one. Yeah, everything's doing pretty well. We have an awesome, Shush, pipe down. There's a game called, what's it called? Warhammer Darktide, and, it's a, Maria doing something on the other side of the door. So, yeah, I showed up oh, hi, Pat! You're in chat, too. Hello, welcome. I can show the trailers again if we have new people and you want to see them. Especially the, let me, boom. The trailers, hang on. So basically, Kayla, I don't know if you know Time Lord's wife. Hopefully, oh, apparently it's, releasing soon. But, hi! Kayla! Welcome! Yeah, I was gonna do the stream at noon, and then I got, dragged into running a game, and then I fell asleep, and then I was like, alright, well, I promised the game. Hi! I guess it is where the party is at. I am more than happy to host for you guys. Welcome. So Kayla asked specifically for a Warhammer 40k, trailer. And this one, I think, had the cool music, so... Start with this one, and then... Actually, this is a different one than
Darktide is a first-person co-op game set in the grimdark future of Warhammer 40,000. Welcome to Tertium, a sprawling hive city on the brink of destruction. You are a reject, a convict freed to serve the Inquisition in this darkest of hours. It is your duty to fight, and, if necessary, die for the Emperor. You can expect no help. No reinforcements. You are Tertium's last line of defense.
This is a different trailer than the one I saw earlier. I watched two trailers earlier, so
The battle for Tertium is about to
I don't know if I'm gonna end up playing. So
rejects will rise.
if it releases on PC, I might play it. I don't generally play the video games on 40k. My specialty is the lore, but this is fascinating and looks kind of cool, so I might end up playing it. Generally, I do. They released back in early 2010s a number of RPGs like tabletop. That's how you thrive, and that's why which are similar to this in that they were. But yeah, I thrived on the lore, picking apart the lore and stuff. And this actually I watched all the other trailers, not this one, but one of the trailers. Hang on, see if I can find it. This one.
I spent 15 years of my
first we have
career
to watch
trying to
that.
create the digital notebook. Remarkable, solved it.
One of them had really amazing music that I thought Mike Disney might appreciate. This is the cinematic.
The city of Tertium is under attack.
This is the
My city. A dark tide of chaos is rising.
same dark side.
Our best fighters are falling. It's time to try new tactics. Something different. Something desperate. We take you, the outcast and the criminal, the lost and the damned,
Yeah, I know
because you have
40K is,
nothing left to lose.
I've actually never played the miniature version. I heard about it, got really interested in the lore, and then I realized they had an RPG version, and I was just like, yes, that's the fun way to do lore, is, at least in my mind. But, they had really, the only one I ever played, directly was, at 40K, was the Space Marines one. It does look really cool, though.
So
I will
you're
say
the
the
scum we're
awesome.
counting now.
But it's more of a thing
If
I'd
it's
watch the
come to
playthrough
this,
of than actually play because that's how I roll with
then God
games.
Emperor help us all.
Video games tend to be frustrating. That was the other one that had really good. But yeah, it's not. I don't know, but this seems really cool. Not that one. But what I was trying to do was look up the Mobian domain, and then of course there's all these ads that I can't get rid of because I don't know how this works. But let's see. Hang on. If we go to the other, the Mobian domain is let's see. Loyal, and besides paying taxes, the Mobian domain manufactures vast quantities of goods for the Imperium. Border territories are disputed. They contain worlds held by Xenos and demons. Ooh. Mobian domain is such importance that the Imperium cannot risk it being invaded or lost. The world is specifically protected by its own Mobian regiments and the Astra Militarum. The lasmen of these regiments are raised, for the most part, on Atoma Prime and have spent the last several years fighting pacification campaign against the border territories known as the Fringe to keep worlds safe. The population of its worlds are kept ignorant of the true nature of the foes that threaten them, because, of course, they are. Want nothing more than to extinguish the Mobian's domain's light. Because of this, masses simply refer to this constant threat as the Dark Tide. That's where the name comes from. And how it must be kept at bay at all times. This is said. The same is said for the freshly raised Mobian regiments until they begin serving the long meat grinder tours in the so-called Fringe Wars and see the true face of the Mobian domain's nightmarish foes. While most serve faithfully despite physical and psychological trauma they face, some Mobian lasmens are left broken by their long tours, such as what happened to the highly decorated Mobian 6th Regiment, which became seduced and infected by Dark Tide and are now attacking... Oh, they're attacking the Tertium Hive. Okay, this is backstory for the game. Okay, backstory. This is what I live for, is the backstory of these things. The lasmen of the Mobian 6th are not doing so for simply vengeance against what they endured in the Fringe War. The poignant truth is that the 6th believe that the Dark Tide has shown them the light, and they wish to share this liberating Nurgle. Yes, it's Nurgle. With the entire population of the Hive World. In doing so, the regiment hopes to free Atoma Prime from its stagnant rubrics of Imperium rule. So, okay. So, Mobian domain is, not this one. Okay, so, a history of Nurgle. There are 4 major and 4 minor chaos gods, meaning, the Chaos Eightfold. Chaos is, how to explain chaos? For those of you who don't know, I'm sure some of you are familiar with Warhammer lore and know about chaos. Basically, chaos is how to explain? So every, the warp is the Ethereum is a secondary realm that is next to the material plane, essentially. And going through it, you can cut down ages on travel time, which is very useful and actually necessary for faster than light travel. Which is all well and good, except that all of the thoughts and of all the beings that have souls, not orcs. Orcs don't have souls. They have balls of orcishness instead of souls, because that is an important factor in fighting chaos. That is actually an important detail in the backstory of how orcs orc. But Eldar, humans, Tau, although they're kind of weak, so they don't get problems with it. But what happens is they've coalesced into these four beings of various facets of the flaws and evil of humanity and other sentient species. So you have these four chaos gods who want destruction and ruin of humans, and they, and then the four minor gods that no one talks about to make the proper 8-pointed thing. But the four major ones are Slaanesh, who is the god of sensation and sexual expression. I call her the god of rape and overdose, or them. The Dark Prince, she who thirsts, is known to be both male and female, and generally a thing. You got Nurgle, father of disease and rot and apathy. These guys are apparently troops of Nurgle. They're for the inevitability of rot and sloth and all that. Then you got Zeech, who is schemes, who is backstabbing and plots within plots to ruin other people, to throw them over. And then you have Khorne, who is blood for the blood god, skulls for the skullfarn. Just destruction, utter violence, the pure animalistic rage and joy in destruction. That is Khorne. And these four tend to corrupt human minds. They also have demons, which are small fractions of them, who can come into real space by using Psyker skulls as a going off point, which is why people with psychic powers are so dangerous and so heavily tamped down by the Imperium, those who aren't sanctioned, because, you can get demons coming into real space through your brain. But, the demons tend to want destruction and ruin of the human race, so they are clamped down on by the Imperium, the Inquisition, and they do tend to accidentally kill innocent people in the crossfire sometimes. But the chaos is a huge threat to humanity because it's destroying the very nature of humans themselves, formed by the very worst of human nature, which is kind of irony. Nurgle is the father of plagues, and rot and plagues and rot, basically. He's but if the truth of these are cultists of Nurgle who have decided to come and try to destroy the Imperium, then they almost certainly have to be stopped, and that's why they're being Ogrins, abhumans. They have a class spotlight, Ogryn Skullbreaker. So Ogrins are abhumans, and they say, to only male Ogrins have been seen on the battlefields of Mobian Domain. That's why I went and looked at Mobian Domain, is because I was like, okay, that's a setting detail, we can learn more. And if a Quisitive soul is brave enough or stupid enough to inquire to an Ogryn about such matters, it is a toss-up whether they get an annoyed low rumble in response or an oversized fist to the face. They're mostly loyal and slow-witted, thriving on simple direct commands. Anything more nuanced is likely to be ignored or boiled down to brief, joyful acts of violence. Ogryn are human, sort of. They are a subspecies of human, with highly low intelligence but high strength and constitution, who can shrug off damage and are tough. They're, this is concept art, apparently. Being bigger than everyone, most Ogrins see themselves as being better, which isn't always the case. They value strength above all else and thrive in situations where their straightforward approach to life, fetch, carry, shoot, smash, is likely to earn praise, reward, or food from their teammates and superiors. Ogrins particularly admire veterans who they dimly recognize as proper soldiers and people to impress. They're less keen on zealots, who often loud enough to be Ogrins themselves, but are generally speaking too squishy to be respected. As for Psykers, Ogrins don't know what to make of these sparkheads. Sure, they seem nice enough, but their air is always tingly around them, and sometimes they explode. And Ogrins like things to explode after they've been shot, preferably by an Ogryn. Boom. Better to keep the sparkheads at a distance, yeah? This is the Skullbreaker class. This is, I think, probably concept art. Ooh. Miguel Iglesias. This is, yeah. Skullbreakers lean into Ogryn's foremost attributes, prodigious strength. A Skullbreaker leans into the Ogryn's foremost attributes, his prodigious strength. He loves nothing more than to charge into the thick of fighting, shouldering aside any punies that get in the path, deliver punishing, shattering blows against this chosen target. Often while laughing as the tiny foes tire themselves out, flailing at him in return. It's not subtle, but it's definitely effective. More importantly, it's fun. Ogryns like having fun. Oh, dang, Ogryns can grow beards. You never see Ogryns with beards in any of the official artwork. It's kind of cool, actually. One of the things the RPGs don't have is, although the Abhumans are well known in lore, and you can get battlefield minis for the tabletop for Ratling and Ogryn units, and there are other Abhumans, they just don't get as much screen time. But the Ogryn, they don't allow stats for Ogryns in the tabletop RPGs. At least not that I know of. Maybe in Only War they have stats. It would be nice if they had stats for Ogryns. This would be kind of fun to play as an Ogryn or a Ratling. I think it would be kind of fun too. Be kind of fun to play as Abhum, but they don't have stats, so getting to play as an Ogryn is actually kind of cool for this. Large and brutally strong, what Ogryns lack in wit and strategic ability, they make up for in sheer strength. Slow but reliable, their immense toughness grants them great survivability, serving well to take brunt force of their enemy's assaults in place of their comrades. Skullbreakers charge headfirst into danger, excelling in melee combat against particularly tough and armored foes. When you play as the Skullbreaker, be ready to always be in the very center of attention, if not for always being the first into the thick of battle, then certainly for your size. Take care not to block your comrades' line of sight, lest you long to perish alongside masses of enemies. Yeah, don't block your enemy's line of sight. That's a big one. Naturally difficult for Ogryns to handle human weapons with those massive slabs of hand they have. For these reasons, they have their own arsenal of weapons, such as Start Open's pipe club, a thumper, a massive break-action shotgun, Ripper guns. That's what they have, at least in 40k lore, for the Astrometarum, is Ripper guns, which are kind of very simple. They're like, I don't know how fully you guys are with guns, but Kalashnikovs, they're 3 moving pieces. They don't jam very easily. They're easy to make, and they can survive being, tossed around and generally beaten with, which is kind of what the Ripper guns are, just bigger because Ogryns are bigger. And they are, they are big time for the Ogryns. Hang on. Okay. Good versus hordes, effective stagger suppression, melee combat focus. This is the crunchy, this is the crunchy, what's the technical term? Mechanical side. Ooh, tactical action, they got a box of grenades. Increased melee heavy attack damage, increased toughness for melee kills. Tough skin greatly reduces toughness damage taken. Also reduces damage taken. Increased revive and assist speeds, because, Bull Rush. The Ogryn charges forward and knocks enemies back. After a Bull Rush, the Ogryn has increased movement and attack speed for a limited time. Coherency bonus, increased melee damage. So if you have an Ogryn, everyone gets increased melee damage, I guess. I don't understand a lot of how these kind of fighting games, the terms are not my cup of tea. I don't know much Darktide. I know Kayla told me because she knows that I love 40k lore, so that's probably why she's like, do a thing on Darktide. I'm like, okay, got it. So, but, so that's the Skullbreakers. There's, let's see, Zealot Preachers. The ones with the hammer. Okay. Creating your reject, you choose between 4 archetypes: Zealot, Veteran, Psyker, and Ogryn. Each archetype has its own unique characteristics, allowing you to match your reject to your own particular playstyle. This we're taking about this fanatical adherence to the Imperial Creed, the Zealots. What I cannot rouse by example, I'll instill through spilt blood, for it is not said For is it not said that if 10,000 feckless souls burn in the flame of perdition to awaken the fervor of one righteous man, then the emperor rejoices? Aye, it is, and with good reason, for life without faith is mere existence beneath the all-consuming shadow of heresy, without so much as a candle to hold the darkness at bay. It is the fate of some to pass from this life as mere kindling, whereas mine is to light the flame. And I see that I am needed in this place at this hour. Yeah, religious, no, from what I can gather, it is not. Oh, hi, Sig, also. But we're looking at some of the pre-test materials, and you get to play as Ogrins, which is pretty cool. And, they also have zealots. Unyielding in their faith and dedicated to lifelong service to the Emperor of Mankind, whom they hold to be not only the ruler of the galaxy-spanning Imperium, but a living god who guides and protects humanity. To be fair, to the zealots, the Emperor, although he preached, when he was properly alive instead of hooked up to the Golden Throne, barely alive on life support, he preached atheism. And his reasoning behind preaching atheism was that if people didn't believe, the dark gods of chaos would not get any power. That was his theory. Unfortunately, that's not how that works. And not being aware that chaos is a thing is, makes you extremely susceptible to it. Fun fact. So, after he was entombed in the Golden Throne, in order... Oh, right. There we go. That should stop the beeping. Oh, wow. So, after his entombment in the Golden Throne, he lit the psychic beacon that's the Astronomicon, which protects all, allows easier navigation of the warp for psychers and anyone for navigators, so that people can travel between planets at faster than light speeds, because otherwise they couldn't. Or they could get slower, faster than light travel, like the Tau do, which takes months instead of days, in terms of the speed, in terms of what's the technical term? Economies of scale? No. Basically, it just takes a lot longer. Orders of magnitude. That's it. Orders of magnitude longer. Travel using the skim method through the warp, which is faster than light speed, but is not particularly fast. And given how massive the Imperium is, you need fast travel. But the Emperor creates the Astronomicon. Also, because he is worshipped as a god, he gains power in the warp, which allows him to occasionally interfere and grant miracles to certain very in times of dire need. And those are extremely important for, keeping morale up and defeating the enemies of the Imperium, which are a multitude. But basically, the Inquisition enforces, and the Ecclesiarchy, Emperor as God is official religion of the Imperium. That's the one. The official religion of the Imperium, illegal not to believe in. Heresy is a crime punishable by death. So, the fact that they view, hold not only the ruler but a living god, everyone kind of knows the Emperor is a god. They just don't worship as much as those zealots do. But Emperor as a god is kind of legally enforced religion. So, fueled by an undying desire to serve their master, these holy warriors fight in a thick of foes, smiting heretical foes with thunder hammers, chain axes, and power mauls. Yeah. Zealots heed only the word of the God Emperor, be it delivered through scripture, sermon, or prayer. They care little for mortal laws, and disdain those who suffer, who offer anything less than complete devotion to their divine master. They are unsullied champions in a galaxy seething with corruption, commanded to purge the heretic, the apostate, and the mutant. Mutant as in those mutated by chaos, not abhumans who are human enough to have souls and therefore children of the God Emperor, just the same even if they look slightly different. There's a difference. Accordingly, zealots make for effective teammates, if not companionable ones. Ever alert for the taint of heresy, they judge their allies by their own high standards and invariably find them worthy of rebuke, chastisement, or outright threat. Ogrins they deride as easily led simpletons, and Psykers as freaks forever teetering on the brink of heresy and madness. Not necessarily without reason. That is true. The purged, the witch is a commandment of the Imperial Creed for a reason. Because having psychic powers and not having incredible control over them means that you often get tainted by the warp and chaos and all the evil that they're trying to fight. Sanctioned Psykers, fun fact, have to be soul bound to the Emperor themselves, which often leads them to burning out their own eyes during the process, or other really nasty things, because the Emperor's soul is so strong. But it grants the Emperor's protection to... because the Emperor himself was a Psyker. So it grants the Emperor, the Psyker's protection from corruption and chaos. It's a whole thing. Unsanctioned Psykers are not doomed to die at the hands of the... or join chaos because, you know... or become demon hosts, because that's a thing that can happen. So yeah. It would make sense that Zealots would be kind of nervous around Psykers, because, yeah, you're always teetering on the brink of heresy and all that. Has an Overgord seed in him, which is why he's in stasis. Emperor does not have an Overgord seed in him. I did watch at least part of that Insanity last night on the mobile, so I, of course, kept skipping and having to restart it and etc., etc. But, yes, I did watch a good deal of it after work, and I know it's Sir Finn. It happened to Sir Finn. Veterans might find themselves spared a tongue lashing, at least so long as they prove themselves faithful and determined. Only a fellow zealot can be expected to understand the weight of one's burdens, and more importantly, can be trusted to retain righteous and unswerving in the face of the enemy. Ooh. That's kind of cool. Preachers yearn for the release of death and arrival before the Golden Throne. Alas, it seems the Emperor has yet has need of them in the mortal world, so they fight on, blows emboldened by pious rage of as their life force ebbs and fury heightened by the knowledge that each scrap of pain brings them closer to reward. Preachers care not if they live or die so long as the foe is vanquished. Their faith hardens as they suffer injury, empowering attacks with holy wrath and strengthening their will to fight on. Oh. You start getting more in your gear as you progress, which is good. With their passive effect of increased melee attack speed, have I ever seen the Emperor and the Overgord in the same place at the same time? No, but there's a lot of things that don't get seen at the same place at the same time because they're from two completely different worlds. And so, increased melee attack speed, these unyielding fanatics opt for more practical close quarters confrontation as opposed to fighting at a distance. The Preacher's utility for close combat is also reflected in the starting loadouts, which is an auto pistol and a combat axe. Alright. Players who prefer more aggressive, in-your-face type of playstyle might find the Preacher a good fit. It seems like unlike the Ogryn, which can sink blows, they can't, so they have to be fast. It's important that you learn how and when to quickly switch between ranged and melee combat, since the flow of combat can be particularly hectic when you actively put yourself in the thick of it. When the team finds itself overwhelmed, the Preacher's class ability sends them charging into the thick of the fray, rushing their chosen targets, and quickly locking them in melee. It may be particularly useful in times when they need to swiftly move out of harm's way or reach an ally in need. In short, as a Preacher, you'll do well against swaths of enemies, as well as deal significant damage to sturdier, more armored enemies. It's critical, however, to keep an eye on your health. The lower the health, the greater the damage, but if you reach zero health, you will, unfortunately, die. Most of the time. So they have health management, high damage melee attacks, good versus armor. I don't know if clerics in 40k can heal. I don't know if the Dark Heresy have any with that ability, which would be useful. Combat axe, and the auto pistol. They have stun grenades. Melee damage is increased based on missing health. Resist death and taking lethal damage. Resists death on taking lethal damage. There you go. Increased melee attack speed. Dashes forward, locking their target in melee. Decreases toughness damage taken. Okay. Nope, that's it. Ooh, there's a short story. Hang on a second. Let me go to the Skullbreaker. October 22nd. So, Sharpshooter. So the Sharpshooter is the second one, which means they haven't done one on the Psychers yet. Last week we talked about the Zealot Preacher class. This time we're shifting gears to an anticipated fan favorite, the Veteran Sharpshooter class. Inspired by soldiers of the Astra Militarum, perhaps better known as the Imperial Guard, the Iggies. The Iggies are the best, Schrodinger's Overgord situation, really. The Seed is alive or dead until we open the Emperor up, or the Seed does. Don't open the Emperor up! He needs to stay on the Golden Throne, because otherwise we lose the soul binding of Psychers, which means they're way more dangerous to anyone around them. And B, you lose the Astronomicon and all the miracles that keep the Imperial troops flowing, because honestly, without the occasional miracle, the armies would have way more trouble than they actually do containing the foes of the Imperium. Oh, Siglin was saying that the Emperor is secretly the Overgord. I don't know. That was a theory that Sig put forward that I am suggesting is a bad idea. Oh, but the Iggies, marks the halfway point for our class spotlight. Right, so they haven't done one on the Psychers yet, which is a shame. Just another day in the Imperial Guard. Official name's the Astra Militarum, but you know what? I can't even friggin' spell that one on the regular. And my mother, throne rest her mother, foul-mouthed soul, told me never to use words that I couldn't paint in the blood of my enemies. It's good manners, ain't it? Thing is, I'm not even part of the Guard any longer, not since that business with the Commissar, the Court-Martial, and the holding cell. Now I'm part of Inquisitor Grendel's merry band of maniacs, for better or for worse. Still figuring out what that means exactly, but most of it seems to be putting the boot in on the Emperor's enemies and not getting summarily executed for meeting the wrong stare funny. So I guess I'm better off, at least as long as the ammo and the grub don't run out. Battle-hardened soldiers, the Astra Militarum, are the foremost defenders of the Imperium. They are the hammer of the Emperor, and unstoppable massive bodies and war machines that overwhelm the enemies with combat discipline, tenacity, and most of all, sheer weight of numbers. Yep. Quantity has a quality all its own. Joseph Stalin. These guys are, they go by force of numbers and die for the Emperor. It's a whole thing. Life in the Imperial Guard is lived in trenches, behind bastion walls, and in the teeth of a bayonet charge. Only the very best, or luckiest, if their numbers survive long enough to become veterans. So we got some concept art, which is pretty cool. More than anything else, veterans are survivors. Some persevere through discipline and strict adherence to the regs. Others beg the Emperor of mankind to see them safely through their battles, yet more are just plain lucky. But most live on their wits and comradeship. Service in the Imperial Guard teaches you to trust the soldier standing next to you, and a veteran, more than any, understand the benefit of teamwork. Though they won't always admit it, veterans are happiest in battle, where they can kill or be killed is the only rule. They'll stand the line with anyone who can point a gun in the right direction, though of course, given a choice, they'd prefer to work with others of their kind. Failing that, most veterans love fighting alongside Ogrins, who have enough military training to grasp the idea of following orders and are invariably keen to prove themselves. Zealots are mostly welcome, though the true veterans often become irritated at these holy warriors' pretensions to martial ability. And Psychers, well, you can trust them for a while, but you never know when one's gonna turn. Sharpshooters epitomize the Astra Militarum's combat doctrine. Overwhelming firepower honed through training and delivered unflinchingly in the heat of battle. Sharpshooters specialize in range combat drills, keeping foe at distance and bringing firepower to bear against high-priority targets. Though they can spray and pray with the best of them, sharpshooters are at their most dangerous when they take time to place their shots where the enemy is vulnerable. Breathe in, breathe out, blow them away. That's some of their gear. It's pretty cool. Drawing from extensive military experience, veterans fight tirelessly to defend the Imperium from any heretical foes that may threaten it. The sharpshooter, in particular, has trained long and hard in ranged combat, drawing preference for long-range weapons such as lasgun or autogun. Upon activating their ability, their movement is slowed. Oh, sorry, I haven't been watching chat because I've been getting... I can't take the Overgord. I could not take the Overgord in a fight. The Emperor maybe could. I can't. That's true. I'm building that up. Overgord is a lover, not a fighter. That's true. They did defeat the Overgord via seduction. I watched the last hour of it myself, but I couldn't go do chat because of the way Twitch works on mobile. At least if you don't have the app, which I can't get because reasons. Bride of the Overgord. Wait, so we have to fight Abby as that? She's the traitor. Oh, wow. She turns into an Overgord and becomes his bride and of the Elder Gord and wow. Okay. Sorry. Upon activating the ability, their movement is slowed in trade for increased weak spot damage, accuracy, and handling. It also sharpens the senses of the veteran, helping them identify non-Ogryn elites and special enemies in a crowd from afar. Their frag grenade is about area of effect. It's heavy impact explosive that is used to establish control in dire situations, tearing through hordes of clumped up foes, disrupting dug and enemy positions, etc. It is a fuse timer, and those that master the frag grenade with tactical placement and proper timing will be well rewarded when a huge horde of heretics is turned into a bloody pulp in an instant. Sharpshooter class may be good for those previously unfamiliar with the Tides franchises. It leans heavily into standard shooter trope. Okay, they've ranged combat. They can do headshots. They're good versus elites and specialists. Good. They have standard issue Munitorm Sapper Shovel. And then they have the Cantrail MK7 lasgun, Mark 7 lasgun. Lasguns are, okay, lasguns are basically laser guns. Any sci-fi. They're also derivatively called flashlights. They don't have a great damage, but their power pack system is... You can recharge them from anywhere. You can even recharge them with literal fire if you have to. Although there is a risk it explodes, but it's less than 50%, which means in dire situations, you can use literal fire to recharge your guns. Anything that has electricity of any sort, you can recharge your power packs from. This is why they're standard issue, so you can swap out your power packs at a moment's notice. This is why lasguns are preferred weapon of the Imperial Guard. And they're nothing to be scoffed at against regular humans. It's just... Imperial Guard doesn't always fight regular humans, because they fight tripped out Chaos Mutants, or Orcs, or Demons, or any number of random Xenos that try to kill Imperial people with an startling regularity. Yeah. The Imperium... My favorite class of all... my favorite faction, rather, in the Imperial arsenal is frickin' the Yiggies. I love the Yiggies. Oh, right! Mike Disney had I think he was... maybe alive at the end. Fumble. Yeah, you don't want to fumble anything. Slows their down movement, take careful aim, increasing weak spot damage as well as accuracy and handling. Increased chance of not using any ammo. Ooh, coherency bonus. That's pretty cool. Alright, so let's see, what else we got? Ooh, there's a short story. Flash Spotlight. Short story. They have short stories. Ooh, the Mobian 6th. Okay, let's... This is the notes from the developer. The Mobian 6th being the bad guys. Let's see what they have to say on them. It's fun to create bad guys, and Mobian 6th are bad to the bone. To me, in games just like novels, the bad guys have got to be interesting, not just cannon fodder. And that's hard to pull off in a game because there are going to be a lot of them coming at you as you dig in and play. Some of them will be cut down quickly, if you're doing your job right. Alright, fair enough. It's pretty much impossible to build them as characters or establish any depth of personality because there isn't the space at the time, and you're not going to have the sort of interaction with them you'd get in a novel or a piece of prose. You might get to learn about a bad guy's motivation or impulses in a book, but a game like this, you're just going to loom at you out of the dark and try to kill you. So what we've attempted to do instead is build, if not characters, then at least character types. The character is the Mobian 6th itself. The regiment, the soldiers who make it up, come in distinctly different flavors, with different looks and different behaviors. So you might not get to know them on a personal basis, but you'll get to know their types, and from that, a picture of the Mobian 6th will quickly build up. These guys. The question is, then, who are they? Well, they're Imperial Guard, which is to say soldiers of the Astra Militarum. They are, or were, humans, just like you and me. They are the sort of conscript troops who, in other circumstances, would be the heroes of a story, fighting to protect the citizens and unity of the Imperium. They may all be uniform because they're, uniforms, but they are individuals with different skills and strengths and different flaws and weaknesses. There's something chilling and sad about seeing a proud regiment of the Militarum filling the role of the enemy. These men were veterans, brave, well-trained, determined, and tough. Raised for the most part on Atoma Prime itself, they were sent away to war and served long tours in the so-called Fringe War, a pacification campaign that has rumbled on for years in the feral worlds at the edge of the Mobian domain. There are several Mobian regiments, in fact, but the 6th is the most famous, the most decorated, and the most celebrated. Back home on Atoma, the citizens of Tertium Hive, they're heroes. You don't get Lasman any tougher than the Mobian 6th. They've spent their lives, and in many cases given their lives, to fight that campaign and keep the people of Atoma and all the other populated worlds in the Mobian domain safe and free from invasion. Though it's only a small chunk of the unbelievably vast Imperium of Man, the domain is a significant tract of space. It's a fiefdom of several important worlds, loyal to the throne of Terra, ruled over by Lord Margrave of Atoma. Think of it like a province or a self-governing state. It pays its tithes and tax to Terra, it obeys the laws of Terra, and it manufactures vast quality of goods for the Imperium. It's important. It must not be lost or invaded or ever fall to the darkness that lies in the disputed territories at its borders. Those territories, which are parts unknown, wild worlds outside the Imperium's remit, are a hotbed of alien, xenos, and demonic threats. To the average citizen of Atoma and its sister worlds, the nature of that threat is a mystery. It's just called the Dark Tide, a boogeyman threat that must be kept at bay. That's why they have the regiments of the Astra Militarum. The Mobian domain, like all worlds and groups in the Imperium, is responsible for raising, supporting, and equipping its own armies, which falls under the auspices of the Astra Militarum. Young people recruited to the regiments like the 6th have no idea where they're being sent or what they will face. They're as ignorant of the dark side as any other regular citizen, for they were all citizens themselves. They learn quickly. The galaxy of Warhammer 40k is not a friendly or safe place. There are brutal horrors out there, alien creatures, predators, xenospecies, monsters, and worse, who want nothing more than to extinguish the fluttering flame of human civilization. Out on the death worlds of the Fringe, the Lasman are thrown into the meat grinder and come face to face with unimaginable danger. Their worldview changes. They learn the nature of the Dark Tide and fight it tooth and nail. Sometimes they learn too much. Long tours result in trauma, both physical and psychological. Some are broken by the experience. Some are made bitter and resentful that the grueling combat they experience is generally unrecognized back home because the Imperial Administratum tends to keep all details of the ongoing conflict quiet so as not to generate public alarm. There might be a few news broadcasts about great victories, but the rest of the turmoil is screened by propaganda. Some troops... Nope, not that one. Sorry. Some troopers, of course, serve brilliantly and bravely and remain loyal, despite everything they experience, but others fall prey to the insidious touch of the dark side. They encounter the malevolent effect of the warp, and it changes them. They become, literally in some cases, the very thing they are fighting against. And they fight well. The character of the regiment comes from different units and specializations. They have fierce melee troops who excel at close range and hand-to-hand. They have stormtroopers, snipers, flame troopers, demolition units, heavy weapons squads. They have everything you'd need in an armed unit if you wanted to take down a world. So the Mobian Six is a regiment that's turned traitor. They have been corrupted by the trauma of their experiences and by the polluting effect of the warp. The Guardians of Atoma have turned, in vengeance and hatred and spite, on the people they guard in the hive that raised them. Ultimately, they are not just monsters looming out of the dark to kill you. They are highly trained, highly experienced veteran troops with full military gear. They've been seduced by the creed of the Darktide, and they have come home not simply to kill and extract vengeance, but more poignantly, to share the truth they have uncovered. They truly believe they've seen the light, and that the dark ways they have discovered are far better and more liberating than any stagnant rubrics of the Imperium. They want to share that truth with you and every living soul on Atoma. So there's tragedy there. They absolutely don't think they are evil. They absolutely think they're doing the right thing, and they will absolutely kill you if you try to stop them. You don't get Lasman any tougher than Mobian Sixth, after all. Dan Abnett! Okay, Dan Abnett is like the coolest ever. Alright, they got Dan Abnett to write for them. That is... Okay, he's super cool. Sorry. He wrote several... he wrote the Tanith First and Only series, which is the... Okay, so... he wrote a series of novels about the Tanith First and Only. There's a planet called Tanith, and they took a bunch of... They were going to start raising Imperial Guard regiments from there. And one of the regiments went up early before the others, and the rest... The planet was destroyed last minute. And the only survivors were this regiment. And Bryn Milo, who wasn't a soldier, but he was like 16 at the time, and he was the only civilian. Dan Abnett's really cool, okay? I named one of my goldfish after him. May he rest in peace, Bill Abnett. And I named my two current fish, McCall and Milo, are named after... McCall and Milo are named after characters in a novel by Dan Abnett about the Warhammer 40k Imperium. They're doing fine. Yes, you are. Yes, you're good little fish. Okay. But yeah. I don't know about most of... I think most of is a lot. There are a lot of Warhammer 40k Imperial novels. He writes a lot of the Imperial Guard one, and I think there's a type of... one of the Space Marines, the Iron Snakes, I think he writes. But yeah, he does write a number of 40k novels. Really good 40k novels. And, he has a special place in my heart. His Tanith books were what first got me really into Warhammer 40k. But yeah. He does write quite a few, has written quite a few Warhammer 40k books, and he is the coolest, and Mobian Sixth is, he's awesome, okay? He's awesome. I wonder if he wrote the short stories. So, writer reveal, that's him! I didn't realize he looked like that. Oh! Okay, so they have hybrid combat. Okay, so basically they're really cool, and they have short stories too. Here's a question for chat, because I know we have people in chat. Should I read some of the short stories for Darktide? Because it seems like they're they have one for the Ogrins. Hang on. One for the Veteran. And one for the Zealot. They're probably going to do one for the Psychers and then the Psycher class special afterward. But should I read the short stories? Do you guys want to read aloud? Because I think that would be pretty cool. Okay. Should I do, alright, because we've been streaming for over an hour, and I usually keep my streams to an hour, but, you know, there's no reason for me to, yes, it seems like we are short, people. That's okay. Maybe you didn't drive them away. Maybe I drove them away. I mean, that is very possibly. Who we have? Here's also... Because, oh, Lawful Stupid. Mama Baisky is streaming. I'm thinking... Oh, yeah, also, a lot of the other, Biggie Paw is also streaming. So I think... And so is Mama Baisky. So, who is another, there are 2 other Blue Ox people who are streaming right now. So I think they're off watching them as well. I think what we should do is save the short stories for another day. But I thank you, Kayla, if you're still out there. Let me see if, all right. Yeah, Kayla is awesome, and you should all check her out. Basically, yeah. She was the one who suggested I should do a stream on Darktide, which is pretty awesome, and I'm glad we did. So that's fun. Darktide happened. Yeah. And thank you all for coming. I always appreciate the streams and the people who come and vibe with me. Tomorrow we're doing another, assuming things go according to plan, which they might not, there's going to be another, a little bit of a mini, a stream, and then we're going to raid into Blue Box after a bit of a Arcana stream, which I think, although their Blue Box is going to be later, so it might change. That might not, we might not end up raiding into them. We'll see, because I have to, we'll see how it goes. But I think let's go to let's raid into Mama Baisky. She's running D&D. Oh, Pat. Yeah, Pat is actually in her stream. That's why. Oh, and Biggie Paw. Yeah, they're co-streaming. That's why. That's why everyone left the stream. All right, pop in for the raid to say hi, and then yeah, tell us we all say hi, and I'm sure it'll be a fun time. Alright, we are ready to raid. And off we trot. Let's do it.